began looking at verse 321 in the previous video, and I'll be continuing with it in this video. So if you haven't watched the previous video, it's probably a good idea to do so. I'll read out verse 321 again. There are 8 worlds of formlessness. Dhyana is divided into 6, and with the Pratyekabuddhas and Buddha-sons, there are 7 forms of emancipation. This verse is the last in a short series of verses which are very similar in that they consist of lists, and these lists don't fit in with the usual orthodox understandings. So for example, the 8 worlds of formlessness, as far as Dhyana is concerned, there are 4 worlds of formlessness. These are the second 4 jhanas, and the first 4 jhanas are the jhanas of form. So I looked at that in the last video. We have to look at this afresh, as I said, and also in the same spirit as the previous verses, which are similar to this one. So the next part of this verse, we're told that Dhyana is divided into 6. I'm not sure you're going to find that anywhere else in the Buddhist literature. Now this isn't about revising our understanding of Dhyana. There's lots of material out there. There are lots of Buddhists who I'm sure who are very well versed in this, and perhaps very accomplished in it as well. But we're looking at this from the point of view of the enlightenment practitioner. And this is about coming back to our fundamental awareness, our fundamental liberating awareness. There's nothing actually very special about this awareness. It's our ordinary awareness. It's just that we don't appreciate it. We don't appreciate its nature. We don't appreciate how it's fundamental to not just ourselves, but to the whole universe. As enlightenment practitioners, this is what we're focusing on. You might find that useful for certain purposes, for example for calming the mind, helping you get to sleep, dealing with your moods. It can be useful, but it's not going to help you with insight into the true nature of our situation. That insight can only happen by being insightful. The challenge then for the enlightenment practitioner is to keep coming back to this insight. And this insight has been described in previous verses as the 2 egolessnesses. And it's described this way to help us work with it, because there are 2 egos pulling us away from this insight. One is the ego of our own moods, our own habits, our own emotional and mental habits. So this can be one focus, a temporary focus. We need to be aware of this. We need to be aware of our essential colouring, our essential tone. It can sometimes infest our insight, infest our awareness. And so we have to go deeper. So there's three things to practice jhana on here. There's awareness, and there's the degree of purity of that awareness. Is it infested? And the only thing we can do is come back to awareness even more. So this is a dynamic process. It's a threefold jhana. The other ego that's distracting us from this awareness is our belief in the external world and all the things and pressures that it puts on us. We have to survive after all, don't we? We have loved ones that we have to take responsibility for and care for. There's our society. There are so many issues to do with health and money, of sexuality, of longing, of justice, injustice. All that's going on. It wants to pull us from this awareness. Maybe make us feel selfish about this awareness. I should just point out, if you have an element of this, there's nothing to stop you from going out there and remedying all these things. But there's no point in remedying them or attempting to remedy them from an attitude of fear and anxiety. So this practice should actually be helpful in this respect. So there's no justification for not coming back to awareness. It isn't about sitting in meditation for hours on end. This awareness can be practiced at any moment. Even when you're busy, there are moments you can come back to, perhaps not as fully as at other moments, but you never know. You still have to work with your moods, whatever the situation. And the belief in this external world is a justification for stirring up the moods. So when you realize the formless nature of everything, as was described in the first part of this verse, in the previous video, we can let it go. We can let it go. So again, we've got a threefold practice of jhana. It's being aware of what is going on in terms of our belief in external forces and using that belief to justify our moods. So we become aware of these two things and again come back to awareness. Come back to that peace and the fundamental reassurance of awakening. So these are the 6 jhanas that the enlightenment practitioner practices. And I'll continue with the rest of the verse in the next video.